Hey, fifth grade. Today we are going to continue our pictures from Carla Gerard, and we're going to be adding these trees onto our pictures. So the first thing that we need to do is go through our jobs. As you may see, number 4 is volume control today. So if you are number 4 at your team, or if you don't have a number 4, make sure somebody is covering that job to make sure that your team is staying at a reasonable volume level, a level 2 or lower during work time, and at a 0 here during the video. The number 5 seat is going to be art teachers in training, so make sure that you collect your badge when the bell is rang. And then you're going to help the people at your color team if they need assistance. Maybe somebody wasn't here for the first part of our picture from Carla Gerard, where we drew our hills and then added in a variety of color and pattern throughout the picture, and you may need to help that person get caught up. My number 1 seat, you are the project folder, so make sure that you collect the projects and bring them back to your table, and then when it's time to clean up, you also put them away. My number 2 is supplies, and you can find the supplies right here on the paper cutter and then on the counter. You're going to get 1 cup of the oil pastels, and then when it comes time for cleanup, you just set it back over here on the counter and leave them in the cup here. But if you're somebody that did not finish your patterns, you can use these. So the trees are going to be in black oil pastel, whereas the rest of the picture is using the colored neon oil pastels. Our number 3 spot is the cleanup crew. So cleanup crew, if we do end up with some oil pastel on your table, please go ahead and grab a wet wipe from the counter and go ahead and clean that up. All right, so are you ready to do your jobs? Glad you all got settled in. As I get ready to begin my demonstration, I want you to follow along with me. Feel free to let the teacher know to pause the video if it's going too fast. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, today we're going to be creating the trees on our background. Hopefully you were able to grab the black oil pastels from the counter to share at your colored team. To begin with the trees, we're going to be working in the foreground. The foreground is the area closest to the viewer in a painting or photograph within a composition. It's the opposite of the background. So we're going to begin close to the front if you're thinking about space within your picture, and choose a hill to begin your tree. Using the oil pastel, you're going to draw a line straight up and then curve it out into a curl. Watch as I slowly build this tree. The maximum of main arms you should have on your tree would be 3, like I have here. This is a pretty big tree, so it was okay for me to do 3 large arms. From here, I'm going to add the smaller limbs coming from the larger arms of the tree. Remember not to fill your page completely full because we are going to add houses onto this landscape, and we want space to be able to have those houses placed. To create the bottom, we're going to bring the line kind of out from the outside of the middle centered line. It's going to make the base thicker and look more realistic as to the shape of a tree. And then you'll want to go ahead and color that in. You could even go into some of your main branches and thicken those up just a little bit. Just don't get too carried away with it. Once this one is completed, we can then begin adding another tree. Let's look here where we could place one in the middle ground. The middle ground is the focal area of the artwork between the foreground and the background. Since I plan to only make 2 trees, I'm going to go ahead and just put a tree in the background. The background is the part of the scene or picture that is furthest from the viewer. So we want to create the appropriate amount of space. Things that are further back would appear smaller. We are going to do the same steps that we did on the first tree, but this time scale it down. Make it smaller, shorter, and maybe have less branches. I would not make more than 3 trees on your paper. If your first tree ends up very, very large, you may only have 1 tree in your composition. Remember, those houses need to fit within our pictures as well. And if the houses are on top of the trees in the background, it will not appear to be correct. We want to make sure that if the trees are ahead or in front of the houses behind, that we create that appropriate space and overlapping. Once you complete this step, you are ready to move on. If you are working and you get a little confused, make sure to ask your art teacher in training for help. When you do finish your project, you need to put it back into the colored folder, and today is going to be a sketchbook day. So you can grab your sketchbook, and then you could either do the prompt that is on the Frida board here, and it says, draw a pile of dishes before they get washed. Or you can draw your own picture in your sketchbook, or you can also grab a how to draw book. Make sure that you do this quickly so that you can get started immediately. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your art teacher in training if you forgot on what you were supposed to do. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.